All right, welcome back to another episode of EventHubs Talk and Block. I am John Catalyst Green. With me, as always, is John Velociraptor Guerrero. And John, can I ask you a huge favor? Can you tell me a time that you're going to show up and then show up just randomly like 20 minutes after you put this like huge countdown clock and other things like that? Because damn, does that ever seem like a really good idea out there for the masses of gamers that are tuning in to watch what you're doing?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about how the Capcom countdown clock was set for a specific time, especially those of us that were covering it as our work day, but even those of us that were just excited to see, will Street Fighter 6 be coming? We got to, I guess it was 10 o'clock here, and there was still a good 20, 25 minutes of action still left, and it's like, I don't care. We're past it. We're through it. Daigo kept it going for a little bit longer than I think everybody was. It was cool to see it, and I was kind of hyped to see him maybe bring it back. But yes, it felt like it was just a bit later. It's at the end of our weekend here. We waited through all of the action, all of the everything, then the analyst desk afterwards, but we did finally get Street Fighter 6.
All right, John, I got to ask you right away. Thumbs up or thumbs down on the trailer? What do you think?
Oh
Hot
man,
take.
it's hard to
Give it to me.
I guess I'm a little let down because it's not much, but thumbs up. I'm gonna be optimistic. I want to be optimistic for this, and what I saw looked pretty good. I'll give it a thumbs up. What about you?
All right. I will give it a thumbs up, but with a bunch of caveats that you just mentioned and stuff in there as well. I feel
Yeah.
very similar, but go right at it, man. Hit it. Let's
Well,
hit it.
let's dig into it. Okay, there's not a lot at face value, and I'm very interested to see what the internet figures out as.
Please smash the like button, by the way. We are on the verge of hitting the channel like a new, very important milestone here, and a thumbs up does help a lot. Whether you like the trailer or not, please do thumbs up this video. It helps
Yes,
us
thumbs
a
up
ton.
the video.
Yes.
But yes, it was a little dance of Ryu and Luke in an otherwise very dark background. Even the characters themselves were very covered in shadows, and you'll see it here. I'm sure we'll play it on repeat for the viewers here. There was a ton of detail. It looks very photorealistic compared to the more cartoonish animations that we see in Street Fighter's past. They just kind of both strike a pose, and we're not surprised to see either of these characters. They look pretty nice. Man, the level of detail was really high up there. You see every bead of sweat, every little imperfection and little freckle and whatnot on the close-ups of their skin, so that was kind of cool.
It's something to point out is the trailer is in 4K, and we know that these modern consoles are 4K, kind of thing, stuff like it is. So the idea here of a more high level of detail and other stuff that we're going to get into with this game, it's probably very definitely going to be there. This is probably going to be the best looking fighting game when it comes out. That might be subjective, but in terms of like high resolution, pump and polys and other stuff like that, that's what they're looking at right now.
Probably very definitely is exactly the phrase that I was looking for. No,
Probably very definitely on the countdown timer, right? So,
yeah,
but
that's
anyway.
doing things probably very differently. But yeah, it is exciting to look at now, and those of us that recall Street Fighter V way back when was actually supposed to be initially this hyper photorealistic style, and they eventually went back to their more, like I said, cartoonish version that we're sort of used to for Street Fighter as a franchise. But yeah, Ryu looked much more like a real human being, and I think we saw M. Bison for those as well. It's like just some concept art, and it was interesting. It's just a totally different direction, and I've heard that Street Fighter characters have their hands and their feet purposefully made bigger and kind of
they are
it
bigger,
kind of looks
so they
goofy.
stand out. Yeah, it
So they
does. It
stand
does
out.
look goofy. Yeah, but so when you're doing moves and other stuff like that, it's easier to see the action on screen. So Laura's got the man hands, right? And but it's like, hey, you want that because it's like you don't want to be mixed up by that and not be able to see it coming. So
Sure, and that's where the points of contact and emphasis are going to be. So, we didn't see too much in the trailer in terms of any displaying of moves. It looked like Luke activated his V skill, where his forearm became a little more pop-eyed, if you will. You see the veins pop out a bit, and sounded like the same voice actor that we're used to. His costume has changed a little bit, but it's widely the same idea. His hair is a little bit. Well, I mean, everything looks kind of different because of the animation. But yeah, you were
one of the
saying.
things that really jumped out to me was like the ink staining that's coming back,
Mhm.
and that is a very heavy emphasis now. We had in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, we'll show the trailer up here, all the oil stuff, that kind of comes up, and then of course in Street Fighter 4 we had all the ink stains and all this kind of stuff. This looks kind of like an evolution of that. V Trigger of course has kind of a little bit of a that kind of style going on, but this looks different. This looks much more of like kind of like the oil painting style that we are a little bit more akin to like in the Street Fighter community, and that
Yeah.
is a standout thing to me. Go ahead.
Yeah, and when we saw the beginning of Street Fighter V, it was Chun-Li and it was Ryu, and we didn't know what V-triggers were yet, but when they activated V-triggers, Chun-Li had this almost like a water paint following her, and I think they toned down that animation when the game actually dropped thereafter, but it was somewhat similar to this, and yeah, I think, so what you're specifically talking about is kind of at the end, they strike a few poses and you see that sort of stylistic thing going on, and then Luke's colors are actually blue and orange here, and a lot of the animation at the end gets sort of like highlighted or underscored with blue and orange, like extra flashes and stuff. So that might be sort of those might be kind of the themed colors for Street Fighter 6. We also get like a little logo here. I don't know if that's going to be the style or not, or if that's just sort of a placeholder, but a bunch of little breadcrumbs that might lead to something bigger to expect.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with what they're doing with the graphics, but it also could spill over in that territory of going too realistic with anime characters, which is is what Street Fighter generally is. You need to keep that look, and I hope Capcom's careful about it. But it's cinematics. Cinematics don't always perfectly reflect what we see in the game, so I'm not too worried about that. Overall, the characters are very stylized. They're interesting. Luke is grinning like the Joker for some reason. I
Yes,
don't
and he's
quite
got
get that.
scars like the Joker too. Not
Yeah.
exactly on his lips, but up here, and so I don't think it's a Joker direct callback, but he definitely has scars on his face, and he definitely looked a little bit insane with that
Mhm.
smile.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that I give it a thumbs up overall because it's just nice to see Street Fighter 6. The community wants it. It's very hype. It's a lot of things, but also I wished for just a bit more. Like they should have had a little bit more here, waiting all the way till summer 2022. Like, that's a little further out than I'd kind of hoped for, but I get it. Maybe they need a little bit more time, and you and I have harped on Capcom hardcore for releasing games before they're done. And never do that again. I don't care if you have to delay the game even more. I don't care if we're slightly disappointed by this teaser trailer or whatever. Just don't mess up the launch of the game. So if you need a little bit more time, hey, all good. No harm, no foul there. If the game comes out, great. That's all we're looking for.
Hmm.
So overall, I really liked it. I think it's a pretty good step in the right direction. The community is very tired of Street Fighter V overall. The Daigo Kawano match could not end fast enough for most people, even though it was a great match. A lot of stuff like that. But overall, like, yeah, okay, let's do this. That's where I'm at with it.
Hmm. The only other thing I would want to remark at is Ryu's appearance, because don't take it to the bank, but you can kind of gauge where they are on a timeline based on Ryu's relative age. Not going to go that far into it, but I will say I think he looks a little bit older here, and he
He does,
definitely
yeah,
looks
yeah.
beefier. Like he almost looks like a big barrel of a tank kind of character. His hair's a little bit shorter, but yeah, it looks like he's a little bit farther on in age. And then I don't know how
Well,
to really
before you move
judge
on from that,
Luke.
that means we know for sure that Street Fighter 5 is going to take place, or Street Fighter 6 is going to take place after Street Fighter 5. And is even possible that it even takes place a little after Third Strike now. It is possible we jump a few years ahead of the timeline, because I do agree with you. Ryu looks older, and the implications on the story and what that can mean if we're actually jumping past Third Strike now could be huge. Bison might be permadead. There's some other characters who might just not exist anymore because in Third Strike or in that timeline, they kind of go away. They're doing other things. So this could potentially have big implications, but we also know there's a time travel aspect and other stuff like that. So a lot of ways to bring people back. But I do think that Ryu's age is a very big clue about where we're looking at for this game, or his appearance of age, having aged.
Yeah, and the most significant part of the whole thing, Ryu's wearing shoes.
Yeah.
Did you
Just like
realize that Ryu is wearing shoes in Street
Alpha
Fighter
Street Fighter
6?
1.
Does
Yeah.
that make any sense?
Well, it's an homage to his old design. I'm trying to remember if that's Alpha or Street Fighter 1 offhand. I think it's Street Fighter 1 where he did have shoes on before. And that's probably something like Mario from Super Mario Brothers, where they give him a mustache because it was so hard to differentiate between his nose and his mouth. You couldn't really see the difference, so they give him a mustache. That's the whole reason Mario has it. I'm wondering with Street Fighter 1 if they had a tough time with Ryu's like feet showing up properly. Maybe they couldn't make him as big, so they give him shoes so they could be big and red, and you would kind of notice
But
them and
he's
stuff.
the shoeless
So
wanderer. he's all about not having shoes. He also has the sexy Ryu beard is back for this one too, so they definitely they made a buck or two off a Hot Ryu, I'm sure. And they're like, we're
Yes.
gonna do that again, push that button one more time. I don't think anyone's complaining about that. So oh man, so he's growing up, he's maturing, he's got this facial hair, he's put some shoes on like an adult. I'm interested to see what Ryu does here at Street Fighter 6.
There it is. All right, John, we're going to be back with a lot more. This is just a start. We wanted to get this video up right away, get it out in front of everyone. Thank you guys so much for watching
Yeah,
this. Helping
obviously
the channel a
tell us
ton.
what you
Yeah.
think. What
Yeah,
what
tell
are
us
your
what you think in the
reactions
comments
to
below.
this? Did you see, were you able to read Luke's dog tags? I couldn't. I tried to pause and zoom in, but maybe you have some crazy, zoom in technology on your computer. You can let us know anything that you notice about the trailer, stuff that we didn't mention here, please, because like it's excavation, exploration time, baby. So I'm excited.